food prices doubled and kaukau seedlings in high demand due to severe drought. PNG Ports and BSP sign instruments to pave way for new port. And a 7th PNG Games could overlap under-20 FIFA World Cup.
This is National EMTV News with Lorraine Genia.
Good evening, thanks for joining us. This is Monday's news. Western Highlands communities in Hagen Central are slowly recovering from the 7-month drought with some rain in the last month. But the recovery will be slow and it will be another 6 months before the first crops are harvested. In the meantime, food prices have doubled and kaukau seedlings have become a commodity now in high demand.
In Kumga village, Mount Hagen, the first signs of recovery. Kaukau in the plots previously killed off by the drought are starting to grow back. The rains that returned about a month ago have given hope to this drought-stricken community. Pastor Joseph Ake, who runs the church, has been tending to the gardens again with his family. 2 months ago, it was a different story.
Place where mission up na backside longen kawa mi play been planning. The whole time drought in this place. Kawa we been command up the whole give him kai low ground na.
Although the crops have started growing again, it'll take another 6 months before they are able to harvest the food. Like other parts of the highlands, kaukau is a staple in the Western Highlands. The health of this crop is linked to the survival of the communities. The last 6 months has been tough. Pests attacked the tubers in the ground and the sun dried the leaves.
So all die out longem all sample garden when me plan walkim na lari mi stop longem all likli kaukau stop inside lo ananit lo ground. Start lo growing all shoots now me plan looking all some lip kamanta me plan just losing all some me plan la walkim nursery lo next round ba me plan kisim na go plan him lo nar plab.
Kaukau cuttings have now become the new commodity for sale. Seedlings, the equivalent of one plot, costs up to 100 kina.
But lagi lo line all planim all kaukau lo ties na dislab now all start lo salim all leaf blong all na me plan go buy him sampler lo 100 kina na sampler lo 200 kina.
The cost of seedlings alone is driving up the cost of kaukau sold at Hagen Market.
Market all carry go. Some all peg him go now we go price go up legally go up awesome. 120 100 kina kind of some. So go 150. Only charge him past time 1 kina na 2 kina. So now me double him 1 double of 5 kina long 4 kaukau.
Hagen Central is a food basket not only of the Western Highlands but also the rest of the country. Food produced there ends up in cities like Lae and Port Moresby. In Lae, there's been a noticeable drop in the amount of food supplied here, as well as an increase in the price.
And that's because farmers in Mount Hagen have to factor in the costs of seedlings and transportation. Scott Waide, National EMTV News, Lae.
More than 300 people from the Morobe district of the Western Highlands are recovering from a serious case of food poisoning after consuming food from several mumus cooked at a funeral ceremony last week. The feast was to mark the end of conflict between two groups caused by the killing of a young man several months ago. Those who attended the feast said the food, particularly the pork, was distributed to relatives in the neighboring LLG areas and they too fell ill. The patients admitted to the community health post suffered cholera-like symptoms, which included vomiting and diarrhea.
Usat man mere olino kage pik longen all stabia right. Mibla kisim part save long this like pik oli kill him longen. Mibla all kata kisim bagarap.
Pignan blo mi kisim signa mi bam me. Yang bla man ino sa weri me bam terrible time.
Minum bin kisim kage long this time. Osam mi yet mi stop healthy mi kisim disla sick diarrhea. But all nala tubla liglig blo mi nala stop nangoya. Tubla bin kisim disla sick.
More on the drought situation, Caritas PNG in partnership with Caritas Australia deployed a research team to give a status report on the distribution of their relief supplies in the Highlands region. This is to determine whether or not relief supplies was reaching people in affected areas. A brief of the report was presented today. Meliasi Govera has more.
A team consisting of members from Caritas PNG and Caritas Australia have been assessing the situation of frost and drought relief in the Highlands region. They have identified 10,000 families in need of immediate food and water supply. The Catholic Church has already given 300,000 kina for relief supplies so far. Representatives from the 4 Catholic dioceses came with their reports and presented their proposals for immediate and long-term plans.
I think the groundwork has been done very well. The dioceses have given very good reports of what's the situation. And that's why we are able to help them for the needy ones.
According to Father Roche, the situation in the Highlands has worsened. Although there have been scattered showers, food gardens will take longer to harvest. People need food and clean water now. National Director for Caritas Raymond Ton described the need for relief supplies as large and beyond their full capacities. The Caritas ground team research helped to narrow the focus down in order to assist those in immediate need, especially the disabled, elderly, the sick and the orphans, to name a few.
The government is doing its best, serving the greater majority. We are seeing where we think people have missed out.
Mr. Ton said after assessing the situation, they will roll out their short-term and long-term relief projects in 2 phases. The first being to supply food and water for families as pre-allocated.
And we have identified the most vulnerable. It is impossible to reach out to everyone. We know the situation is large and our capacity cannot reach out to everybody. And so we have narrowed it down to those very much affected and most needy.
According to Ton, Phase 1 should begin in December and finish coming March or April 2016, where Phase 2 will kick in. The second phase will cover long-term relief supplies in the form of water tanks and wash projects in partnership with other NGOs. The church anticipates that about 1 million people will benefit from this project. Melissa Goviro, National EMTV News.
PNG Ports and Bank South Pacific have completed a landmark transaction that will enable the development and expansion of the state's new port at Motukea Island. Both entities recently formalized a transaction agreement valued at 300 million kina. This loan facility by PNG Ports is the first that it is entering into without any government guarantee.
PNG Ports Board Chairman Nathaniel Poya announced the completion of this transaction, which he says will enable PNG Ports to continue its work in ensuring that developments at Motukea Wharf are completed on time.
PNG Ports is fully getting a loan itself. We are not getting any government guarantee. So this loan will be under his balance, comes under the PNG Ports balance sheet, and we are happy to work with Bank of South Pacific.
The 300 million kina loan facility provided by BSP is the first that PNG Ports has entered into without any government guarantee, which Mr. Poya says is a demonstration of PNG Ports' strong balance sheet.
This sort of loan is at the very first for SOEs. So PNG Ports is the first one to borrow the 300 million kina from the commercial bank. So we appreciate and we are looking forward to work with the bank.
According to PNG Ports CEO Stanley Alphonse, the loan will now enable PNG Ports to accelerate the development at Motukea.
So in a sense, what we will be building long and short of it is a modern facility, port facility, that will ensure that we have the necessary shoreside infrastructure over there under very strong concessions, with the particular aim of getting the efficiency that this country long desires, particularly getting through to the supply chain and getting cost-competitive outcomes at the grocery shops. As soon as the drawdown comes in, we will take at least at best 18 months to get it done.
Representing BSP at the announcement was the bank's General Manager Corporate Banking, Peter Beswick, who thanked PNG Ports in having confidence in BSP. He also thanked all parties involved who worked together to complete this landmark transaction.
We're very much involved with a number of SOEs, PNG Power. We're in discussions with PNG Telecom. This transaction is a landmark transaction for Bank of South Pacific, particularly in the infrastructure space, which we're committed to working with government, state-owned enterprises to improve the infrastructure that's available to everybody operating in this environment.
He says BSP is also working with other SOEs to provide similar financing for various programs. Morobe, National EMTV News.
One of Papua New Guinea's leading engineering firms is confident that business will pick up in 2016. Kramer Ausenco has been operating for over 38 years, providing engineering services to a wide range of sectors in the country. Its Chief Executive Officer, Frank Kramer, says despite the current downturn in the world economy, the operating environment in Papua New Guinea is showing signs of improvement, especially with major mining and petroleum projects due to commence construction soon.
With over 35 years of experience in the engineering field, Kramer Ausenco has been a leader in the PNG market for many years. The company recently thanked its partners for a successful 2015. Kramer Ausenco CEO Frank Kramer says the company remains positive that it can withstand the current harsh economic conditions.
It can go no other way except go up. And I think to manage the change upwards, take advantage of the opportunities we have in 2016, 2017, with the transformational project that will follow, which is Papua LNG, which will follow PNG LNG. Manage those changes so that we get maximum Papua New Guinean participation.
Having been in the engineering business for over 35 years, Kramer believes that the time is right for the company to continue its expansion plans, particularly within the Pacific region where the economies are smaller than that of PNG.
It will be a long time before we see $1, $2, $3 billion projects in those jurisdictions. PNG, after 30 years of these $1, $2, $3 billion projects, we've just experienced a $19 billion project in the Exxon project. And right on its heels, we've got the Papua LNG project, which will be a $15 billion project. So
Kramer believes the future is bright for the company as it remains a leader within the PNG market, a market that has traditionally been dominated by foreign-owned engineering companies.
I think it's a great opportunity for Papua New Guineans, Papua New Guinean professionals, Papua New Guinean entrepreneurs, and in a lot of ways, Kramer Ausenco is a trailblazer. We're in the industry where all my competitors are outsiders, foreigners. I don't compete with Papua New Guineans, I compete with foreigners. So I want to show other Papua New Guineans how we can compete at the highest level globally.
Morobe, National EMTV News.
And among stories after the break, shopping online in PNG, improving transport infrastructure in Milne Bay, and airline passengers warned of safety regulations this festive season. Welcome back to the news. Papua New Guineans are now being encouraged to shop online for efficiency and better prices. PNG's largest online store, Fortuna Online, in conjunction with Vitis Industries, will be hosting a 3-day exhibition of its online products for the public in Port Moresby. Only 6 months since Fortuna Online went live, the online store has already 10,000 registered users.
Online retailer Fortuna Online is expected to help change the way Papua New Guineans do shopping. Project manager for Fortuna Online, Bhavik Kapadia, said many retailers are now moving towards technology, and Vitis Industries was no exception. Since going live 6 months ago, Fortuna Online has a huge variety of products at low prices under the bottle shop, supermarket, department store, hardware, electronics and automotive tabs.
It's about convenience, it's about moving with the technology, it's about giving them low prices, it's about creating a bigger variety for people.
Fortuna Online makes it easy to buy goods online using various payment methods and free delivery service for purchases over 100 kina. The 3-day Fortuna Online exhibition will be held at the Laguna Hotel in Port Moresby from the 1st to the 3rd of December from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Entry is free.
This is a unique opportunity for everyone, especially the people in Port Moresby, to come and have a look at what Vitis Industries, what Fortuna Online and their other partners people who, other distributors who have joined us and are supplying the items that we are showcasing on our website. So what we want to do is showcase all these items, show the people what we are all about.
The exhibition will also have other distributors and exhibitors as well. Those interested to shop online will be assisted in registering on Fortuna Online. According to Vitis Industries Director Dr. Sergei Mosin, Vitis Industries is currently working on a 3-story shopping mall at Gerehu. It is expected to be completed and opened sometime in 2016. Deli Waigeno, National EMTV News.
Alatau District in Molembe Province is investing heavily on transport infrastructure. Trucks, tractors and a boat were presented to LLG presidents, the Alatau Pastors Fraternal and the Catholic Church over the weekend. The district has been embracing and strengthening partnerships with churches to provide services to rural people.
Transportation has remained a challenge for the Alatau district in the past years. Less attention by previous governments has seen little to no effort to make easy access for its people. Over the weekend, 3 trucks, 2 tractors and 2 Land Cruisers were presented to Suau and Weraura LLG presidents and the pastors' fraternity. The PMV trucks will serve settlers and villagers in the oil palm plantations. Purchased using DSIP funds, these transport infrastructures embarks to improve transport in the district. The district is also embracing the government-church partnership to deliver services to its people.
We are determined to partner with the church. We are convinced that the church can do a much better job than government itself even.
Yesterday afternoon, the Alatau Catholic Diocese received a boat, the Alatau 5 Morning Star 3.
We can do our mission, and also we may be able to serve the public, which needs also at times.
The boat was blessed and given a washdown by the local firemen. Other denominations have received a similar boat in the past years, with one planned for the Pentecostal churches next year. Jack Lapave Jr., National EMTV News.
Catholic faithful and the public in Alatau took to the streets yesterday for the climate change walk. The walk began at the community centre straight through town, the market and ended at the Alatau showground. Alatau MP Charles Abel says the province is vulnerable as climate change is an issue faced around the country. He said challenges like climate change can be solved with responsible family planning.
So it's a very important topic, and it's becoming more and more important every day. Please understand climate change, and understand not only the challenge, but the opportunity it presents to Papua New Guinea. With those forests I talk about, and the tuna that we have, and the biodiversity that we have, and the relatively low population that we have.
As the festive season approaches, the travelling public has been warned to take heed of airline policies on alcohol consumption. Mark Karolaka, port manager for PNG Air, said the airline will not hesitate to offload any passenger who breaches this policy. Fabian Hakelitz reports.
Christmas is a peak period and the travelling public have been reminded of the zero alcohol tolerance policy. PNG Air Wewak Port is strongly implementing this policy. Last Saturday, EMTV saw an intoxicated passenger who was denied boarding. Port manager Mark Karolaka has warned the airline will not tolerate any intoxicated passengers.
Safety-wise, and also it's a company policy that allows us as various ports not to allow boarding of intoxicated passengers.
Safety is paramount, and as part of operational requirements, just like any airline, this existing policy applies. This is safety for other fellow passengers, aircraft, and also for the intoxicated passengers themselves.
It's very challenging when we try to convince intoxicated passengers. So my appeal to the Papua New Guineans out there, if you're traveling on an airline, or whether it be PNG Air or other airline, we encourage public to travel in a more sober attitude.
Mr. Karolaga called on the travelling public to be alcohol-free and make this festive season a joyful celebration with the loved ones. Fabian Hakelitz, National EMTV News.
Papua New Guinea's Women's Microbank Limited has continued to encourage the SME sector to venture into business. This follows the opening of its new office at Alpi Centre in Port Moresby today. This office will provide convenient banking services through savings, loans, fixed deposits and micro-insurance services to its customers. Eric Harupma with this report.
Women's Microbank opened its new office this morning at Alpi Centre in Port Moresby.
For now, we open for the new office and we have received a customer with a deposit of 17,000.
Several customers, especially those engaged in the SME sector, who turned up to do their banking witnessed the launching of the bank's new office. Among them were Women's Microbank founder and successful businesswoman Janet Sape, small business entrepreneurs and employees of the Women's Microbank.
You establish one block work or you establish one block business or you establish market or you establish one of this bank and all get married.
Small business entrepreneurs Elizabeth Jones and Evelyn Ola, who have been benefiting from the bank services, said this bank has been supporting them big time. Elizabeth Jones, a vendor from Western Highlands province, has saved up to 10,000 kina by selling tobacco at Gordon's Market, borrowed 25,000 kina from the bank in April this year to buy a car which is now operating taxi services in the city.
Me say make him good plus something and me help him, me plant him, me look out the family blow me.
Another vendor, Evelyn Ola from Southern Highlands province, has borrowed 25,000 kina from the bank to buy a car after saving up to 27,000 kina by selling apples at Gordon's Market. She also runs a taxi service in Port Moresby.
Microbank time, me come in, me look him, me come up.
Speaking during the opening ceremony of the Women's Microbank CEO Tusari Ewapati Rana said this office will continue to provide extensive and convenient banking services.
Where the customers can borrow against their savings. Within 2 hours we process it and they can get the money while their savings still growing with us.
The Women's Microbank is one of the 5 microbanks operating in the country, serving over 14,000 customers operating through agents' offices in Leh, Medang, Wewak and Maprik. Eric Arupman, National EMTV News.
And now looking at our finance news, the kina closed unchanged at $0.3375 US in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your kina was buying $0.3300 US, $0.4555 Australian dollars, $0.3081 euro, and 40.19 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, cocoa and copper closed higher, while gold and coffee closed the day lower, and crude oil and copper closed lower, while palm oil closed the day higher. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 15 points lower, the ASX closed at 32 points higher, and the All Ordinaries closed at 31 points higher. Among stories after the break, 4 suspects arrested with 25 kilograms of marijuana in Leh. Stay with us for the details. Welcome back to the news. Now, police have confiscated 25 kilograms of marijuana, a boat and other items following an arrest over the weekend. 4 of the 6 suspects have been arrested while 2 escaped. The 6 suspects travelled from Kimbe in West New Britain and arrived in Leh on Friday morning.
The 6 suspects left Kimbe on a boat and arrived in Leh on Friday morning to buy marijuana. In Leh, they stayed with one of the suspects' relatives at Sipaya village. The suspects left Leh on Friday morning and traveled to Munum, just up the Okuk Highway. There, they bought 25 kilograms of drugs and went back to Sipaya village. Police were tipped off and were monitoring the situation. At around 2 p.m. Saturday afternoon, police caught them when they were trying to leave Leh for Kimbe.
Most of the times drugs are shipped across to West New Britain
through air or through sea.
Police believe there are some drug dealers from the islands who are also involved. But police say it is the first time police have caught suspects using a small boat to come to Lae. This could mean that traffickers are changing their methods to avoid detection. The drugs are worth between 30 and 50,000 kina on the street. Police says the most common trading port for dealers is between Munu Market and Najab. The dealers don't usually travel down to Lae. Mata Lewis, National EMTV News, Lae.
Police in Wewak are disappointed with authorities for the manner in which 15 Vietnamese were handled for illegal entry into PNG waters. They told MTV News they couldn't arrest and lay charges because immigration officials transferred the case to Port Moresby. They said this case occurred within their jurisdiction and procedures for arrests and charges should be made in Wewak first. They've called for proper understanding of processes by organisations involved in such cases in the future. Trukai Sports is up next and we'll have news on the National Boxing Championships, football in New Ireland and NSL. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. New Motukea Boxing Association was declared champions of the 2015 National Boxing Championships at the Peter Torrett Hall in Kavieng, New Ireland Province. Facing stiff competition from various boxing associations around the country, New Motukea stood out on the final day of competition. Elijah Levet reports from Kavieng.
The finals kicked off to a flying start with the women's matches. Philo MacGyver almost lost to East New Britain's Geraldine Cooper, but it was her experience and stamina that assisted in her win. Women's division had fighters going head-to-head, entertaining the crowd. One, who thought she had won, was disappointed after realizing she lost. In the men's division, it was all serious business with many going at each other. The fight of the night was in the 52 kg men's finals matchup between Louis MacGyver, who's known as PNG's 52 kg champion, and Charles Kramer, who claimed gold in the 49 kg division at the Pacific Games. With the crowd on their feet, both fighters were evenly matched. After 3 rounds of entertaining boxing, the match went in favor of Charles Kramer. Jonathan Kramer's match was forfeited because his opponent did not turn up. Thaddeus Katoa also won his bout after his opponent retired from the match. Medals were presented at the end of the finals to outstanding boxers of the tournament. A lot of new talent has emerged over the past few days of competition, with some boxers from the different associations putting up amazing fights against PNG's best. There has been a lot of support from the government towards the code. Now the boxing code is slowly gaining popularity in the country after PNG claimed 8 gold medals out of 13 in the Pacific Games. Elijah Levet, National EMTV Sports, Kavieng.
Member for Kavieng Open Ben Micah has urged the people of New Ireland to engage in football. The weekend saw the grand final of the Football Association in Kavieng, where Minister Micah encouraged more people to get involved in the code. Dion Kombang also reports from Kavieng.
Although football is one, if not the most popular sport on the planet, the small town of Kavieng is yet to join the football craze.
Soccer is the most popular. It is a big business in Europe, in South America, in Australia, everywhere in the world except Kavieng.
Football is still gaining popularity in New Ireland. Minister Micah said the government is willing to support the code, but organizers of competition in the province must show commitment before they will be given a helping hand.
We have rugby to support, we have basketball, softball, boxing, athletics, so many sports to support. We don't want to waste the government's money and sponsors' money on a sport that is disorganized and it's got useless people trying to promote the sport.
The government is set to provide proper football fields for regular competition, which will be at international standard. Organizers must prove that they are capable of running a competition.
With the government's investment in sport throughout the country, sport can be used as an avenue to bring about change within the community. Minister Micah urged New Islanders to start young and be disciplined so they can one day represent the country at an international stage. Dion Kombang, National EMTV Sports, KVang.
Second leg of the NSL competition over the weekend saw two newcomers in the semi-professional league, Erema FC and PS Huawei United, in a tight tussle to stamp their mark in the league. However, it was Erema FC who proved unstable for PS Huawei United after coming from behind in the second half to win 4-2. Shane Soroya has this report.
Minutes in the first half, Erema FC were on the ball with swift passes from the midfield. Out wide their flankers, good running pace, creating opportunities up front. And soon enough, Huawei conceded. A thundering shot by Erema striker Tauwini fired past goalkeeper. Tauwini and Samson Kareva with all guns blazing. And just when all seemed to go well for Erema, confusion in the back. A short passes resulted in simple tap-in by Huawei's Ron Barlow to level the scores. Erema replied with strong midfielding, controlling traffic and sending through balls and setting up crosses from two corners coming in. But much to the team's dismay, Erema's forwards just couldn't seem to connect the dots. Then in a sudden twist of fate, Huawei's Samson Kareva scored off a through ball down the middle. And in a moment, Huawei seemed in control, spreading the ball out wide, creating opportunities up front going. Going in the break, Erema were leading by 2-1. The second half, Erema came out strong with Cyril Muta-led defense, kept the Huawei's attacks at bay, and kept the momentum going to once again level the scorecards at 2-2. Huawei replied, and though at times coming so close but just couldn't find the back end of the net. And with just quarter of the match to go, goalkeeper Joey Kala was injured in a contest of the ball in the box, which saw him replaced by substitute goalkeeper Enoch Maniwolo. The replacement proven a game changer for the side. A couple of minutes into play and PS Huawei conceived 2 goals in just less than 5 minutes. In the final huta, Huawei went down chasing a victory so near but yet so far. Erema FC who came from behind to snatch victory 4-2. Shane Soroya, National EMTV Sports.
Madang FC has defended its home ground against Admiralty FC from Manus in yesterday afternoon's NSL match in Madang Province. Ephraim Leo scored his first goal in the NSL as Madang beat the visitors by 1-0. Rachel Shise reports.
The day was dull in Madang, but when the players took the field, the support was hot and the field came alive. Both teams were strong, giving more motivation to the supporters. The visitors gave the home ground players a tough match when they scored in the first half, but that goal was disqualified. The Madang FC scored in the second half and the referee gave the okay.
Me and Masul win. In fact, it was a very tough fight, but knowing very well that I'm home ground below me, I can't lose this game.
The Manus Admiralty coach, on the other hand, was not happy.
Referees belum Madang ino kan referee NSL here. It shouldn't happen. For the good of the football, I understand that FIFA law itu kozem and fair play, and for the fair play it must apply for the players and for the officials as well.
Rachel Shise, National EMTV Sports, Madang.
Trukai Sports continues and major sporting events overlapping in 2016. That's after the break.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. Now, while the 7th PNG Games is set for November 26 to December 10 next year, it unfortunately overlaps the staging of the Under-20 FIFA Women's World Cup by 8 days. This could see one sporting event taking more attention from the other. While confirmation is yet to be received from the PNG Sports Foundation, Vice Chairman of the PNG Games Organising Committee, Daka Magai, has said the dates are subject to change. Jaylee Sapias has more.
With less than a year to go, preparations for the 7th PNG Games are underway, with the proposed Games dates a concern to the PNG Games Organising Committee as it overlaps the country's biggest international sporting event yet, the FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup. Deputy Chairman of the host organizing committee, Daka Magai, said he was waiting on the PNG Sports Foundation to look into this matter.
So it is up to them that they will make the break with the dates to see that, we do not confuse our people here.
Magai said despite this concern, all will be settled when the committee meets next week to finalize plans for the 7th PNG Games, which will be staged in Kimbe next year.
I know there is a lot of critics around the place that they haven't seen anything very tangible going up, no infrastructure up yet, but we are all, planning towards it, and we're on schedule. We will be putting up infrastructures as early as January onwards.
While the PNG Sports Foundation is yet to confirm dates, the PNG Games Organizing Committee has said the current dates are tentative and are subject to change come the 5th of December. Jaylee Sapies, National EMTV Sports.
Mr. Magai has also said Kimbe will stick to the tagline of the PNG Games as a grassroots game and has urged all provinces not to expect something spectacular along the likes of the Pacific Games. While the 6th PNG Games in Lae proved to be the bigger and better games in the history of the PNG Games, particularly with the newly refurbished Sir Ignatius Kilage indoor and outdoor stadiums, Magai says Kimbe's #1 priority is to provide a platform to showcase the country's sporting talent at the national level.
It's a grassroots game, and Western Britain is looking forward to host it as a grassroots game. So when we say stadium, you might want to expect a bigger stadium like the one you have in Port Moresby or in Lae. Unfortunately, do not expect anything of that sort, but we will give you a level playground to play on. Basically, we have to meet standard requirements of the games because the game will be played at a national level. Nothing very sophisticated, but all the grounds, all the playing fields will meet the required standards. That is the assurance.
With the momentum of the 7th PNG Games gradually picking up in all regions of the country, the PNG Sports Foundation has embarked on a campaign to prepare provincial teams for the biannual event. The PNGSF conducted its 3rd Regional Capacity Building Workshop in Goroka for the Highlands region last week. These workshops will enable provincial teams to be aware of the guidelines and provisions for the 7th PNG Games in Kimbe, West New Britain Province. 22 participants from the 7 Highlands provinces attended a regional capacity building workshop last week at the National Sports Institute in Goroka, Eastern Highlands Province. This workshop was the 3rd regional workshop to be conducted by the PNG Sports Foundation. The workshop addresses the importance and need for provincial teams to adhere to the guidelines and provisions of the 7th PNG Games in Kimbe, as well as comply with the Games Charter.
The purpose of the workshop is to give some guidelines and provisions to the general management team appointed by the PEC of the respective 7 provinces in the Highlands region. And so far the 3 days workshop has proved to be very fruitful with the activities we have conducted. Challenge ahead is the budget approvals for most of the regions, and within the Highlands region itself, that component is taking a bigger jump towards where they can be able to see their actual entry into the PNG Games.
Team Southern Highlands General Manager Paul Yakira, who attended the workshop, has guaranteed his province's preparations for the upcoming games in Kimbe, as well as the following games in 2018.
Seems to us that we really get the inside of it and what we are going to do, and it's really help us to plan for the team well to get go to Kimbe next 2016 games in Kimbe.
The PNG Sports Foundation will conduct its final regional capacity building workshop for the southern region in Alatau this week. And that ends Trukai Sports. Your weather details after the break.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
And your weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow in the southern region: showers for Popondetta, fine in Daro and Alatau, and fine in Port Moresby and Kerema. And in the Mamase region, few showers for Lae, Wewak, Medang and Vanimo. Showers and thunderstorms in all centres of the New Guinea Islands region. And brief showers expected in Mount Hagen, Goroka and Kundiawa, and possible evening showers in Mendi and Wabe. Before we go, recapping our headlines again. Food prices doubled and kaukau seedlings in high demand due to drought conditions in Western Highlands. PNG Ports and BSP signed instruments to pave way for new ports on Motukea Island. And in sports, the 7th PNG Games could overlap Under-20 FIFA World Cup next year. That's how we begin another working week. I'm Lorraine Genia. Enjoy the rest of tonight's viewing. Good night.